Hello there, welcome to Nerd.World. In this video I'm going to be taking a look at 6 different anti-heroes from sci-fi and horror series. Sky's the limit on that. Now if you enjoy this video, like anything else I'm doing on this channel, please like, share and subscribe. It all helps, and I'd appreciate any comments or anything you'd like to put down below. Any more suggestions of anyone I might miss at this list. Now, with all that out of the way, let's just get started. Occupying our number 6 spot on this list is Adeline Sade from Grimm, the Hexen Beast, who started out as a villain and slowly morphed into a hero character for the show. If you don't know, if you never watched Grimm, the Hexen Beasts were basically witches. There was the female version that was the Hexen Beast, and the male version, the Zauber Beast, who, without bit of a spoiler, so skip if you've never watched it but planning to, the captain of the police force, supposedly a good guy, was a Zauber Beast. Now with this one, I was kind of torn as to who to throw in this, because initially all the Hexen Beasts in the show were shown to be villainous. They're incredibly powerful, amongst the most powerful Wesen. And their abilities, unlike a lot of other Wesen, are much more based in the realm of ambiguity than this sort of straight and out Blutbot that was just a werewolf, basically. Now, Adelind starts out as a sort of evil lawyer, but again slowly turns into becoming the love interest and good guy. The other Hexen Beasts that were in the show, such as Eve, also always a little vague as to whether she was good. She seems to be good, and she ultimately is, but their tactics, their methods leave a lot to be desired, and they'll kill quite readily, and some of the ways that they kill are pretty spectacularly violent and dire. A Zauber Beast uses less magic, but its physicality is well known. They're much stronger, more durable than a lot of the other creatures, and are generally feared for their immense physicality, whereas Hexen Beasts are feared for their abilities. Now, in the show, defeating them is very difficult, even for a Grimm. And although, like other Wesen, they are afraid of Grimms, they are much more inclined to stand to them because they're so malevolent by nature. As I said, they occupy a lovely grey area, and Adeline Sade's character, and particularly her character growth of the show, was one of the best storyline arcs of a show that had a lot of good characters and a lot of good acting. At the number 5 spot, we have got Captain Jack Harkness from Doctor Who. Started out as something of a oddball time agent, but not really. He is charming, charismatic, but has a dark side, a lot like the Doctor. He is capable of making very dark decisions when he has to do, which actually include, and are not entirely limited to, killing his own grandson for the greater good, which is a bigger story, and although incredibly dark and depressing, it was the horrifically right decision to make at the time. But there you have it, a character that can kill his own grandson to save the world. So is he a monster? Is he a good man? It's really ambiguous. A lot of the time he seems like the person you go to in a crisis in need, and other times he's the person you don't want around at all. The TARDIS flew to the end of the universe to avoid him because he's effectively a fixed point in time that should not exist. And his character is often portrayed as I said, very lovable, affable and charismatic, but with a dark and somewhat distasteful side to his character at the same time. It makes him a very fascinating, compelling character in both Doctor Who and his own spin-off series Torchwood, which in and of itself is a grey area organisation. Now, at our number 4 spot, talking of anti-heroes, I have an entire show based around an anti-hero, and it's really, I don't even know how you can call this guy a hero, really. We've got Dexter Morgan from this series of the same name, Dexter, a serial killer who kills other killers. I mean, that was pretty much the only way they were going to get away with this. I mean, the ending of the show wasn't great. We all expected him to either get killed or arrested, really. But I'm not going to give away what the actual ending was again if you've not seen it. But Dexter was a landmark show. I mean, there'd never really been a show where the serial killer was the highlight. I mean, you got Silence of the Lambs, where the standout character may have been, you know, Hannibal Lecter, and the movies Hannibal and Red Dragon that heavily featured that character, and Manhunter for that matter, the much older one. But never an entire series. I mean, you were rooting for this guy, even you shouldn't be. You were rooting for him to win, and he was murdering people. Whether they deserved it or not really wasn't always his call, and he didn't always get it right either. The moment he killed one person who didn't deserve to die, he was no better than the people he was killing, and that, again, is something of the theme of the show. You shouldn't root for this guy, and I think sometimes it's more a reflection on the audience, it's a reflection on us for rooting for this guy. We wanted him to win, we wanted him to succeed, and didn't want to get him caught. And I think that was the mark of good writing and a good character and a good performance by, well, everyone in that show. Just everyone. But yeah, Dexter, possibly one of the ultimate anti-heroes of modern television. And next to the number 3 spot, getting close to number 1 here, the next 3 I really like, we got Sheriff Buck from American Gothic, not the American Gothic that everyone probably immediately thought when I said that, the fairly recent Supernatural series. It's the American Gothic from the late 90s, a show that caught on the craze of the X-Files basically. And again, the main star of this show, played by Gary Cole, who is just wonderful in, I mean, everything that guy's in, can't get enough of him. He plays this character with such delight and zeal and just cool, just awesomeness, just amazing awesomeness that he plays that character with. I can't even, hyperventilating. He was just awesome in that show, and he is basically a demon, sort of. We're not entirely sure what he is. We'll call him a demon because that's maybe what he was. He was a demon. He had supernatural powers. He communed with spirits. He killed people and took their souls for fun, for purpose, who knows. And a lot of the show featured around his relationship with his son, who initially didn't know he was his son, and the relationship with the boy's dead sister, who may be dead, but she's turned into an angel and now opposes Sheriff Buck and is trying to stop him corrupting her brother. Her brother, who is obviously, he has this force in him, just like his father, which basically means he's a demon. And every time, as she puts it, every time he uses that force, it destroys a piece of his soul. But it makes them immensely powerful. They can conjure things, move things with their mind. They seem to be able to read. The darker you are, the more evil you are. The more heinous the crime you have committed, the more sins, the easier he can read you. He can see what you've done. And sometimes just his presence is enough to terrify people. But sometimes the show implies that his abilities are less supernatural and more biological, might not be the right word, but they do incapacitate him one time, take away his abilities by stabbing him in the head. This doesn't kill him, but it neutralizes his abilities by damaging his brain at the front. Until he recovers, he can't use his powers. But the show really did his character well, and as always, Gary Cole played it to perfection. And that show is is a standout. It's only got 1 season, but my God, it's worth a watch. And here we are at number 2, once again with a character we really shouldn't root for, but we can't help ourselves but do it. We got Lucifer, literally the devil, Beelzebub, Satan, and we're rooting for him. He's funny, charming, charismatic, and there's the mystery around why he can't seduce the good detective in the show. Just everything about him. His connection to hell, his true story. Is he really that bad? Is he really possibly good? I mean, he's clearly not. You get, if he has any chance of becoming an angel again, he just finds it terrifying or, horrible. The show had some of the best side characters. For example, it had Trisha Helfer in as his literal mother at one point, and who knew God had a wife once upon a time. The show, again, makes you root for the villain, and this is the Prince of Lies, the prince of all villains. in any literature, any form, any other show, movie, series, comic book, anything, the devil is not someone you want on your side. I mean, just ask Ghost Rider. I mean, really, this show is so good and so charming and so wrong. You should not be voting for the devil, but you're there going, come on, man, just do it. Yeah, you're the devil. What are you taking this shit for? Now for number one. And when I was like thinking up who all these people should be, when I first, in fact, this is the character who I thought when I first thought of him, and I was watching it and I thought there is no better anti-hero. And I thought to myself, I could do, there's so many of them out there, who's the best? And I keep coming back to him. We got Spike from Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I mean, seriously, could it be anyone else? Even when he was bad, you wanted him to win. He was so good. It's like, there was never a role better written as if for a character. James Masters was born. He was created probably by Lucifer to make that character his own. It was wrote for him. He plays it with joy and delight. And me watching that when he first appeared in season 2, I'm like, there's a vampire smoking a cigarette getting out of it. They don't even breathe. Why is he smoking a cigarette? What is he getting out of that? Oh wait, he looks amazing and he's scary. That's what he's getting out of it. Spike. And then he turns up in Angel. His wit, his charm, his intelligence, and his stupidity all make him one of the best characters, if not the best character, both villain, anti-hero, and even sometimes hero, but usually just anti-hero. In every show, even Angel. And in Angel, he's much more antagonistic than he's in Buffy, because he was in love with Buffy. I wouldn't exactly call his... maybe a bit of a bromance, and I could see it being quite angry between those two. But he wasn't really in love with Angel, but still. Bringing him into that show in season 5 was good. His episode appearance in season 1 was probably one of the best episodes of season 1. A vampire that bleaches his hair, smokes cigarettes, and wears the coat of a dead slayer he killed 30 years earlier. Was it 30 years earlier? No, it was late 90s, late 70s. It would have been 20 years earlier. But either way, no one else could have been top of this list. And believe me, I thought about Dexter. I thought about Lucifer. I even considered a few other franchise contenders, but seriously, no one beats Spike. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? If you disagree with me, let me know. Who should have been number one? Who have I missed? I've probably missed quite a few. In fact, I know I've missed quite a few because I wanted to keep the list to 6, and there's several I didn't add on to it because of that. Let me know in the comments below who you'd have had as number 1. Anyone on this list or someone from another franchise. If you enjoyed this video and you made it all the way to the end, thank you very much. Like, share, subscribe, again, comments, great for the algorithm. And with all that, bye-bye.